Hey everybody, welcome to SnPSports. It's been a while, but we're back. I am of course Matt Popcorn Knife Mahler,
And I'm Ryan Showtime Velasquez.
and of course, like we said last time, we're going to be talking about college football Week One today. So we have 14 matchups today that we're going to talk about. Ranges everything from the Big Ten all the way to the Mountain West. So we're going to kick things off today with Indiana versus Indiana State. So who do you think will win this one, Ryan?
It's a tough call. It's a battle against two really bad teams. So, but I've got IU winning this one pretty handedly. I mean, even though IU's not in the upper tier of teams when it comes to college football, Indiana State's not even in the FBS. So, got to give the edge to IU.
Yeah, I'm gonna of course go with my Hoosiers as well. Um, Hopefully they can come out and have a big game against Indiana State as much as you can, I guess. Come out and just get things started right by getting that win, and then being one game closer to hopefully the postseason. So up next we got that game's on Thursday. We're gonna do this by chronological order. So the next one we're gonna talk about is on Friday, and it's Western Michigan and Michigan State. Who do you think is going to win this one, Ryan?
This one I also thought was pretty tough. Michigan State loses Le'Veon Bell, and they also had little offensive production last year. They were 110th in points scored, so you can't win if you don't put the ball in the end zone. Western Michigan's also not a very good team. The MAC conference up there. They went from a two quarterback situation last year to now a single quarterback with Van Turbingen. Um, it's really tough. I got to go with Michigan State just because they're in the Big Ten. I look for this one to be a really close game.
Yeah, there's about 8 to 9 games on Friday, and this is only one that we found interesting, so that's why we're covering it. And I'm gonna have to go with the Spartans as well, just because are in the Big Ten. They're not gonna be a top tier Big Ten team this year, but they're still a Big Ten team, and they're be playing the MAC team. So I'm gonna take Michigan State this one as well. So we for two, we're both agree. So maybe we'll have some disagreements later. Actually, speaking of disagreements, I think this will probably be our first one. So on Saturday, we start things off at noon with Purdue at Cincinnati. Who do you think is going to win this one, Ryan?
A lot of me would love to say Purdue in this one. Got Rob Henry, senior quarterback. He's been there for a while. Hopefully, with the new resurgence of Hazel coming in as the coach, they can come up for a win. Um, you got Danny Anthrop going down with an injury. He was going to be a starter, and then they also lost another starting receiver, so they're down to two backups as starters, which is going to be pretty tough. And Cincinnati's a tough team. They're looking to go on a title run. They've got the schedule to do it, and I think this year the Cincinnati's going to start things off with a win. Very close. I wish I could pick Purdue, but can't say that I do.
All right. Well, I thought we were going to disagreement, but I'm also picking Cincinnati. I just think Purdue with the new coach coming into Cincinnati is a really tough first game for him, and I don't think he'd be able to handle it. I think it'd be a good game. I think it's going to be the game I'm watching at noon, and but I think the Bearcats are going to pull it out at the end.
If it was at Ross-Age Stadium, I'd pick Purdue.
All right, fair enough. All right, up next we got Ryan's Fighting Irish playing Temple. Um, I mean, that's going to be obvious, but why don't you explain why you think Notre Dame's going to win?
Notre Dame's just a better team. Temple, had no QB play last year, and they only had one player on offense that totaled over 1,000 yards, and that was a running back. So they didn't have a quarterback that threw for over 1,000 yards, and you can't win when you don't have offensive production. Notre Dame loses Everett Golson to academic reasons. They step up Tommy Reese, and Tommy Reese is a very underrated quarterback. People aren't expecting a lot from him, but he is the perfect pocket passer, and he goes through progressions, and he's going to shine this year, I believe, and lead the Irish, who have a stacked defensive line with Stephon Tuitt and Lewis Nix. I just think the defense is going to be stout, and Tommy Reese is going to impress.
Yeah, I'm also going with Notre Dame. I mean, Temple is a terrible football school, and I think Notre Dame's probably just going to run all over them. So I think Notre Dame will come out with the victory. Up next, we got Penn State versus Syracuse. I almost didn't highlight this one to talk about, but I thought it might be an interesting matchup. Who do you think's going to win this one, Ryan?
We got Penn State. Syracuse is losing Ryan Nassib at quarterback, and they're also losing their head coach. So it's going to be a new system, new quarterback. First game going against Penn State, and that's a tough team to play, especially with the fiery coach of Bill O'Brien, and then the team that banded together last year. Really impressed, going 6-2 in the Big Ten. So I've got Penn State winning this one.
Yeah, I have Penn State coming out of this one as well. Um, Syracuse is a basketball school, so I don't really think that this is a basketball game. Syracuse might win, but it's a football game, so I think Penn State is going to come out on top. Up next, we got a clash of the Big 12 versus SEC.
Who's Syracuse beating the tournament this year?
Let's not talk about that one.
Oh, okay, my bad.
It never happened. But we have Mississippi State versus Oklahoma State. I think this is going to be a pretty good game. Maybe be tight, but who do you think is going to win, Ryan?
I've got Oklahoma State winning this one. Mississippi State last year started the season off strong, winning 7 straight. But then, like the Arizona Cardinals did in the NFL, they just shat the bed the rest of the year, finishing 1-5 in the rest of the year. That's SEC play, so they come to play against non-conference teams, which Oklahoma State is non-conference team, so maybe Mississippi State will be able to pull it out. But I think OSU is gonna, win this one. They put up a lot of points, and they're the favorite to win the Big 12 in most polls, especially on ESPN. So I've got Oklahoma State winning this one.
Yes, we agree again. I have Oklahoma State Cowboys coming out of this one as well. I think that they're one of the top teams to win the Big 12, and Mississippi State's kind of towards the end of the SEC, so I think that's why Oklahoma State will come out of it. Up next, we got the defending national champions versus Virginia Tech. Who are you going to take in this one?
You'd be stupid to pick against Alabama. Obviously, Alabama only lost one game last year, and then I believe they went undefeated the year before that, and then they also won the championship both years. So I got to go with Alabama. They've got A.J. McCarron, who's a senior. He's going to be running the show. They've got Eddie Lacy. They've got Nick Saban at the reins at coaching, and then they got a great defense, as always. The one way that Virginia Tech can win is if Logan Thomas comes to play. Logan Thomas has been struggling the past year. If he can play like he did his sophomore season, I believe Virginia Tech can stay in this game if they can shut down T.J. Yeldon. Oh, and sorry, T.J. Yeldon, not Eddie Lacy.
Yeah, I also have the Crimson Tide coming out of this one. I think they're like an 18-point favorite or something. I think it'll be a little bit closer to that, but I still think that the Tide will come out and start the season strong with a win. I don't see them losing. Like you said, they only lost one last year, so I definitely don't think they're going to come out and lose their first game. So up next, we have Ryan's own Lobos playing University of Texas San Antonio. I'm gonna let you. I'm gonna let you take this one over because I have no idea about either team.
Texas San Antonio, they're not in the FBS right now. They did win a championship a couple years back with Larry Coker, who used to coach for Miami. So they're a pretty strong program, but I've got a UNM winning this one. UNM, they're playing at the Lobo Den up in Albuquerque. I'll be up there, tailgating and just cheering them on. UNM had the number 5 best rushing team in the nation, with Casey Carrier leading the reins. He's a senior now. He's looking to go to the NFL, so he's definitely going to have to put up some draft numbers. He's a dark horse Heisman contender. He might not make it to New York, but he's going to be in the Heisman runnings. One thing that hurts the UNM Lobos is the QB play is lacking. Cole, I don't know how to say his last name, Gotchi is starting. He's an option quarterback, which fits perfectly with Bob Davies' system here with Casey Carrier. But they're very unbalanced. Last year they threw 5 touchdown passes with only 34 rushing touchdowns. I think Casey Carrier is going to run all over San Antonio.
I went with New Mexico just out of the pure fact that you're a fan, and it makes me happy when I see my friend's team win sometimes. So, but next we have the game of the week, probably the one that I'm probably the most excited about. It's Georgia at Clemson. It's the primetime game at 8 p.m. on ABC. Yeah, this is going to be a great game. Who do you think is going to win this, though, Ryan?
I've got Georgia winning this. SEC team last year, they came out and, went to the SEC championship game and had a chance to win it and beat Alabama, and it was down to the last seconds when they lost it. They've got Aaron Murray, who's voted the best quarterback in the SEC by the coaches. Clemson's got Taj Boyd and Sammy Watkins. The Taj Boyd has been a superstar player, putting up a lot of stats, but I think Georgia in their defense will be able to slow them down.
Yeah, I also have Georgia winning this. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm really excited for it. But I think Georgia's going to come out on top of this one. Up next, we have LSU versus TCU, which is 9 o'clock on ESPN. Who do you think is going to win this one, Ryan?
We got LSU. LSU is a national title contender, and they've been, going under the radar. No one's been talking about them, but they're a championship contender. I know TCU I picked to go to win the Big 12. Casey Paha, if he gets a starting job, then I think they'll be able to be pretty strong. But it's going to be a close game. Tough-nosed defenses playing at each other, so it's whichever offense makes the big plays for first.
Yeah. I also have the Tigers going to win this one. I just think that an, the SEC team is just going to prevail over the Big 12 team in most cases, and this is one of those cases. The late games, we're getting to the late games now. Uh, Saturday at 10 p.m., it's Boise State at Washington. It's on Fox Sports 1, which will probably be the first time I watched Fox Sports 1. Who do you think is going to win this one, Ryan?
It's kind of sad. All these games that we're listing right here, I'm not going to be able to watch a single Saturday game because I'll be up in Albuquerque tailgating the entire time. But I'll throw the Notre Dame game on the radio. But for this one, you got to go with Boise State, eighth best defense in the nation last year, senior quarterback and a great system. They're a balanced team, 20 pass touchdowns, 25 rush touchdowns. They got Keith Price at quarterback for Washington, who's struggled last year, 70 more throwing attempts, but 300 less yards and 14 less TDs. So I think he's starting to lack, and then Boise State's going to take advantage of that.
Yeah. Boise State comes into Washington's new stadium, but I still think Boise State's going to come out of this one. They're just a much better rounded football team, and I think they're going to end up winning this. The last game on Saturday, starting at 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ESPN2, is Northwestern at California. Only put this on here because it's a Big Ten Pac-12 matchup, which should be good. These are both pretty middle of the pack teams. Who do you think is going to win this one, though, Ryan?
I've got Northwestern. Northwestern opens it up the season in the top 25. They've got two excellent rushing players. Their quarterback and their running back both had 12 TDs last year. And so, if you can get 24 rushing TDs just by two people, that's pretty good statistic-wise. Cal, they they have seven ranked teams on their schedule. So they've got a pretty difficult schedule. And I just don't see them being able to hang with them, especially having to play a tough Northwestern team right off the bat.
Well, sounds like your dog agrees with you.
Yeah, my dog does.
But I'm also going to go with Northwestern. Got to go Big Ten, I don't think the lead start will really affect Northwestern that much. I think they'll come out of the gate and get that first win against a decent team. So now we move on to Sunday. I didn't know you could play college football games on Sunday, but there is two.
Nobody got time for that.
But the only one we're going to talk about is Ohio at Louisville. It's at 3:30 on ESPN, and it's Teddy Bridgewater's first game this season, and I think Louisville is going to win this one pretty easily. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, I've got Louisville too. Like you said, Teddy Bridgewater. The only thing Ohio's got going for him is Bo Blankenship, their senior running back, had 1,600 yards last year and 15 TDs. If he can get going early and put some yardage up on the boards and a couple touchdowns, I think it'd be a close game. But I've got Louisville, just blasting it out. But don't overlook Ohio, Louisville. If you overlook them, that's the game you're going to lose.
Yeah. So we wrap up our matchup talk with Florida State at Pittsburgh, which is the Monday game on ESPN at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Who do you think's going to win this one, Ryan?
Well, I don't think we're gonna disagree at all this week. Pretty much I got Florida State. I could pick Pittsburgh, out of the spite that I want to, try to beat you in this series. But, I've just got Florida State. They're a better team. They're ACC champs last year, I believe. Could be wrong in that. My facts aren't really good right now. They got Jameis Winston replacing E.J. Manuel, which is going to be a big step because those are some big shoes to fill. But Pittsburgh, I just don't see them being able to match up. They did play pretty big against ranked teams last year. They took Notre Dame to 3 overtimes, and they also beat Rutgers in Virginia Tech last year. So they come to play.
Yeah, I think ESPN picked a good Monday night game. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup, but in the end, I also am going to go with Florida State. So we agree with all 14 matchups that we talked about here. But
I
it's week.
bet for all the games this weekend, we will have at least one disagreement.
Yes, as Ryan mentioned, we are picking every game, and we will post the rest of those picks on the blog as soon as Ryan finishes picks. But we agree on all 14. Um, so, is there any other storylines you're thinking about this week, Ryan?
Just the start of college football season. It's been so long. I just looked at my Instagram about a picture that said kickoff starts in 139 days. It was hard to believe it was like 130 days ago that I wrote that, but it's finally here. I'm so ready. My wife gets off at midnight on Friday, so basically Saturday morning, loading up the car and driving to Albuquerque straight from there. So we are going to be tailgating for at least 12 hours before the game. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I'm really excited as well. This I only work a couple weekdays this week, but it can't go by fast enough. I'm ready for some college football, and so yeah, that's our week one preview. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, follow us on Twitter, do all that jazz, and be on the lookout for the rest of our picks on the blog. We'll also be having a pick contest between me and Ryan to see who is the better picker of college football games. So until next time, I'm Matt Popcorn Knife Mahler.
I'm Ryan Showtime Velasquez.
Have a good night.